Type of user can also impact the type of work that PMs do. Consumer-facing products are focused on solving user problems and providing value to the user. There's often more focus on simple, clean UX. Nowadays, having easy-to-use products is really table stakes for consumer-facing products. Additionally, for consumer products, the user is also likely to be the person who purchases the product. And the team working on the product is able to experiment and update the product relatively fast. On the other hand, for enterprise products, the focus is more on solving business problems like workflows and process improvements, although there are some user problems mixed in there as well. PMs need to understand both business and end user needs. Another key difference here is that the bulk of the value that the product creates is usually to the company that purchases the product. This is also another key differentiator. It's ultimately the company that decides to purchase the product, even though the employees will be using it. In these types of environments, the user and the customer are not the same, and this is something that product managers in the enterprise space need to keep in mind. And one last thing is that in a B2B environment, there are lots more problems for PMs to identify and requirements to manage. Generally, it also takes longer to iterate and update the product as businesses tend to be more change averse than consumers. If the systems that they're using to run their business change on a weekly or monthly basis, it's likely going to cause a huge loss of productivity for them. Product managers can also build specialization through working on specific types of products. Here are a few examples. For software, PMs tend to be more focused on digital experiences like apps and websites. They usually care a lot about user experience and will also need to understand rollout cycles and processes like App Store review. PMs can also focus on hardware, and they'll be more focused on components, capabilities, cost, and supply chain. Hardware PMs will also understand the build timelines, how the factory line is set up, and likely shipping, certification, and import implications as well. Another key difference here is that once a physical product is built, it can't be updated easily. This is very different than software products, but in the case of hardware products, it means that it's super important to get things right the first time. Another specialization is data. Here, PMs can focus on how data can be used to build and power products, potentially through ML. Data PMs get super deep into data and numbers, but not just to analyze the product. Instead, they focus on figuring out how products can be built on top of lots and lots of data. Think self-driving cars and Netflix recommendations. Growth is another area that product managers can focus on. Here, PMs will grow the product through features that drive adoption, either directly, like a refer a friend feature, or indirectly, through features that would convince the user to get the product. Growth PMs focus on getting new users and have a deep understanding of their funnel, optimization, and acquisition and onboarding strategies. Another focus is internationalization. International PMs focus on bringing the product to new places. This means deeply understanding the differences in those markets, differences in user behavior and expectations, and adapting the product to fit. In addition, these PMs have experience internationalizing products. For example, adapting the UI to support right-to-left languages or creating systems that can customize content in an app based on location. Sometimes there's also additional requirements in specific markets that must be met before the product can be launched there. These are just a few examples of specializations that a product manager can have. There's lots of other ones as well.